From one inquiry to the next, it's been a year of inquiries, it seems. The Nkabinde inquiry has pressed NPA head Shamila Batohi to personally engage with the evidence related to Advocate Andrew Chauke rather than relying solely on opinions she obtained from advisors. Batohi continued her testimony before the Nkabinde inquiry in Pretoria, which is probing the South Gauteng, I beg your pardon, Director of Public Prosecutions fitness to hold office. Batohi is central in this inquiry as she wrote to the president requesting that the matter be investigated. I'm joined now in studio by Nqobile Madlala, who's been following the proceedings there for us. What are we hearing from the main complainant in the matter, who would have said President Cyril Ramaphosa must look into this man's fitness to hold office? Does she have evidence, or is she just merely advised?
Well, she says according to what she has done is that she's looked at certain advisors that has come into her office. She's asked people to look at the evidence and basically advise her. One of those people is the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions. There's a panel that she set aside as well. There's also an advisor with regards to the police. There's also an advisor within her office, and basically every evidence that she has come from the advisors. And this is why in the Nkabinde inquiry, the Justice Bears also said, well, it doesn't make sense that you would go to the president without actually looking at the evidence, mainly because when she walked in, it was 2019, and all of this building up to now, they're talking about the fact that in 2023, it was over 4 years by that time that she was in office. Why didn't she communicate with the actual evidence? And this is mainly because, remember, the inquiry is trying to get to the bottom of the truth in terms of what really occurred. We know that they're probing mainly 2 cases, amongst others, she says, Advocate Shamila Batohi says. And we know that in these 2 cases, one is the one of Lieutenant General Richard Mdluli, as well as the one of General Johan Boysens. Now, in these 2 matters, what's interesting about it is that in the Boysens matter and the Cato Manor unit, they're saying the Chauke basically came in and said there was a lot of evidence and that this required a racketeering certificate. And this is why they were going in saying that there must be an enterprise, and the people that are managing this is Johan Boysens and the others. But only to find that in the dockets that were provided, he was only mentioned in 2 of them. So then he had a leg to stand on when he said that it needs to be reviewed and set aside. However, we saw Chauke being persistent and saying that it must be continued into it. And that's how we found Sean Abrahams, who was also saying the racketeering charge must go forward. Now, when Batohi came into office, she had to deal with that matter. And she's saying this is one of the reasons why it was difficult for her to start. But, of course, the truth has to come out. And let's listen in as the judge just explains.
We are here to find the truth and to be assisted, because when we write the report to the president, we must have understood the case very clearly. Advocate Batohi is testifying and is going to be excused, and as the head of the NDPP is better placed to assist us. And I'm saying this deliberately so that we are not misunderstood to be pressing her or cross-examining her. That's not our duty. We seek to find the truth and to get the correct facts.
Well, I suppose the next big one is the Richard Mdluli matter, and whether or not he would have given instruction for certain things not to be done or certain things to be done, where he contends to say that, look, it's in the normal operations of the NPA that you would make recommendations, you'd take them to particular advisors, and they would advise you in a particular way. What did Shamila Batohi have to say?
Well, she's basically explaining that there was a public outcry really over the Mdluli matter, mainly because of the passing of Nqobile, who we understand understand, was actually killed at a space where he was supposed to be showing a police officer at the time, Lomo, that this is where an attempt was made in his life, and he had come out of hiding to specifically help with the investigation, and he ends up dying there, and they are told that it's just a robbery. As a result, there was a public outcry over the case, and she's saying that matter in itself, she then took it to the advisees, and she said to them, look at this matter. Is it grounds for me to question why Chauke is still in office? And they said that it actually has a lot of evidence that Ndluli was, in fact, had an intent and could have possibly done that. However, on the other side, Ndluli had decided that no, it needs to be an inquest. He can't give in the charge of murder and an attempted murder. And basically, he says that the inquest was going to unravel some of the evidence that was hidden behind. And so that was the idea from his side. So she says that she asked Ndluli to explain to her, and that was the answer that she got. But she says those were two cases that she brought into the office of the president to basically say that there needs to be an inquiry, and she feels that she had done right because she had people who were advising her. But let's listen in, because she explains why it's important for jurisdiction to be observed.
When I took office in 2019, there was an application by Boyson to have the authorization of Advocate Abraham set aside. So at that point in 2019, the de Kock panel was put together to give me advice on what approach we should take in those proceedings before court. That happened in 2019, and I got that first de Kock report in, I think it was July of 2019.
All right, some of what you're hearing, they're coming from the BES Nkabinde inquiry looking into fitness to hold office of the NPA director in South Gauteng, that is Chauke. We appreciate your time. Nqobile, Madlala, thank you very much for coming on. That's our Nqobile there. She was watching that carefully. Well.